Hello, so I'm back again with another video. So today we'll be exploring the Fibonacci sequence. So today we'll do something where the user will input a number into the computer, and then the computer will throw out that many digits of that sequence. So basically, if you don't know what the Fibonacci sequence is so far, let's search that up. So it's basically a sequence where it is sort of like n plus n minus 1. So let's see. Fibonacci sequence. So today I'll be doing it in both JavaScript and Python. So this is like a graphical representation of the sequence, but basically what it is it'll start with 0. The first digit will be 0, and then the second one is 1. And the third one will be 0 plus 1, which is 1. The fourth one will be 1 plus 1, 2, 3, and the fifth one will be 1 plus 2. So basically, the digit will be like the previous two digits sum. So that's basically the logic behind it. This visual representation is like, I find that fascinating, but I don't really understand how that is, but I guess I will know over time. So okay, so our goal is to make that and make it in both JavaScript and Python. So let's open up Visual Studio. If it opens up in time, I was making a Discord bot. I'll have my Discord servers link in the description below, and you can probably join it if you want to. It's being really slow right now. Okay, there we go. So we open up a folder. So let's create a folder. Just being so extremely slow right now. Let's create a folder here in my YouTube folder. So basically, here's all the files and stuff I've been trying to work on. Right, so this is Fibonacci sequence. So now we have a folder called Fibonacci sequence. Now we can just open that up from here. We're ready to start coding. So basically, let's start out with the Cody, like the more text required language, or JavaScript. Python really doesn't need that much of stuff. So yeah, we have the basic boilerplate for HTML right now. We don't really need to worry about anything else that much for now. Script src, and the source will be script.js. So now the HTML is pretty much done, so we can just like open up a Google tab. And I found out something over this period of time. If you just drag this, if you drag it like this, and then you just come and release it here, it'll open it up as a live server. You don't have to have any extensions or anything anymore. So now let's try. So now we need a variable limit, which will be defined by the user's input. So it will be an integer, because there can't be really a half a number which is there, because like it is a sequence, there really can't be. So prompt and it'll ask, how many numbers do you want in the sequence? So it asks you that of our limit, that is the limit that it's been set to. And now, so basically we'll have two variables, which will be the first two variables, because it always starts with 1 and 0, and we need two variables to make the next one. We can't just add undefined and 0. So var n1 and n2 are set to 0 and 1 respectively. And here we have a count variable, which will be necessary for us for when we loop through and write the sequence. Okay, so first of all, let's have the console open because it's much easier that way. We can have the stuff here, like the output here. Console. Right, the console is open. If I reload this, it should ask me for that. Perfect. So far so good. Alright. If limit is less than or equal to 0. So you can't really have 0 numbers in the sequence, so or a negative number. So now we can just say console.log an error, maybe. Actually, instead of console.logging, I'll give it as an alert. So, you know, it's more visible that it's a problem. Please enter a positive integer. It has to be an integer. There can't be like 1.5 numbers in the sequence, right? So else if now for if limit is set to 1. Now we can, should we alert this or console.log it? This is not a problem, so let's just console.log it for now. Why is that there? I don't know. Oh, okay. Console.log. Okay. So I'm gonna use a string concatenation for this. So we'll basically say n1 Fibonacci sequence up to, okay, up to. By the way, these aren't single quotes, these are tildes or whatever, however you say that. I don't really know. Let me know in the comments. So now up to limit colon and then dollar curly braces and 1. So this will just tell Fibonacci sequence up to 1 is 0. So now it's else. So in case it's none of these and it's actually a valid case, then it will need a while loop. We haven't really dabbled in this much, but we'll be using while loop. So while count is less than limit, because again, I told you this, we would be needing this, and while this is less than limit, and in the end, of course, count needs to increase. So, well, this will happen as many times as you set the limit to. So basically, we console.log n1 dot to string. So, you know, just returning it as a string. We can just, actually, let's just remove the toString and like just return the n1. Now we have to do sort of an iterating thing. We have to create a variable called nth, or whatever you want to name it. Nth will be basically the previous two values of n1 plus n2. So now it has, so let's say it's 0 and 1, right? The first time count is 0 and it's less than, let's say, 5, right? So I will write down 0, and the variable nth will store 0 plus 1 because it started off with 0 and 1. So nth is equal to 1 right now. And then, and after this, we'll set n1 to the current value of n2, and the value of n2 to the current value of nth. So basically what this does is, this is creating a sort of looping effect, which is still representing the numbers in an increasing fashion. So basically, so let's say you entered 5, right? And n1 and n2 starts off with 1. So in the first iteration of this while loop, nth it will be set to 0 plus 1, or 1, and 0 will be written down because n1 is set to 0. So after that is done and nth has the value of 1, the n1 will then have the value of n2, which is up here. So therefore n1 will get the value of 1 as well, and then n2 will get the value of nth, which is right here. So now n2 will also have the value of 1, right? So now that n2 has the value of 1, basically what's happening here is n1 gets the value of 1 and n2 gets the value of 1 as well. So this keeps happening, and then these keep increasing accordingly. So let's try that. 5. Perfect. 0, 1, 1. It just does that because, well, Chrome developer tools made it that way so that any two stuff will be output that way. So let's put like 10. So 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3. Yeah, it works perfectly just as it should be. So, well, we have the JavaScript part done. So, well, this is how you do it in JavaScript. This is how you do the Fibonacci sequence. Now let's try it in Python, right? So Fibonacci.py. So let's say goodbye to these and not take up too much of our RAM. Alright, Fibonacci.py. So let's use this code as our reference. Okay. Okay. So we have a limit variable. Limit is set to parse int prompt. So basically, which is the same thing as input in Python, and input, and it will ask for, I can just copy this. So how many numbers do you want in the, okay? Now we can say dot int. Now, the int is a method which needs an argument. So, well, now limit has basically, so we basically copied this, but we've translated it into Python code. Okay, now we need variables n1 and n2. You know what? Let's have it in this way because they're kind of related. So n1 is equal to 0, n2 is equal to 1, and then count is equal to 0. So now we've done this as well. Now we need the if, else, and those. I don't think this is possible in Python, right? Cannot assign to literal. What do you mean? 0 isn't it? Yeah. Oh, is it like 2 of these have the same values? Or maybe I just didn't save it, whatever. So if, now we need the if else part. Limit is less than or equal to, so limit is less than or equal to 0. It will is there a method called output? No. Print, yeah. I forgot. I haven't been here in a while, it seems like. Now we can just copy and paste the strings because, well, strings are manipulated in the same way. And then elif limit is 1. Oh, I added a semicolon. Control C, Control V, but in this case I'll just say, oh right, so you have to use Python string concatenation. So let's see. Oh, by the way, let's put something right here which says Fibonacci sequence up to. Oh right, these are still in single quotes. Up to limit. There we go. Now we're completely done. Fibonacci sequence. This is a very, if not probably the most popular math sequence of all sequences of all time. So Fibonacci sequence up to 1 is N1. Let's see. Run Python, find a file in terminal. Hello. How many numbers do you want in the sequence? Let's do 1. Fibonacci sequence up to 1 is 0. Works perfectly fine till now. So now it's the else part. Else, okay, while loops in Python work pretty much the same way, because like the concept is the same in any programming language. It's just like the logic and like some new features or some new methods of the language which differ. Print. It will print out N1. So it will print out N1 and oops, yeah, that's not a thing in here. N1 plus N2, and then N1 equals N2, and then N2 equals N3. Changes values accordingly. Indentation matters in Python, which it really doesn't in here in JavaScript, and ++ doesn't work in Python either. So yeah, print. I'm gonna print Fibonacci sequence up to limit. Let's see. So now let's run this, alright? Run Python file in terminal. Let's see. How many numbers do you want in the sequence? I want, let's say, 5. 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Let's see. Let's go again. I think control click. Oh right, an exe file won't run through that, so I guess we have to do that again. How many files? 10. Let's see how much that works. 1, 0, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It works perfectly in both languages, and you've done it without a bug. Oh, we could just do that. No way. Alright. So, well, that's how you do Fibonacci sequences or display them in two different languages right there, JavaScript and Python, whichever you need. You can probably get inspired and probably add on something. Maybe like do some visualization, which will draw this weird spirally thing, which we saw in the beginning of the video. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
With